In the previous episode, morning dew adorned plants and insects, as Como and Jimmy roamed the territory of the Manatus pack in search of prey. Whatever their size, predators play an important role in the balance of the boreal ecosystem. We hope that July will allow us to continue the study of the complex workings that link the species living in the land of the wolf. After the black flies of early June, wildlife faces a new ordeal. Cool, rainy weather has multiplied the number of mosquitoes to the point that some days the wolves struggle to find rest. We do well with our veils, but our friends don't. Jimmy cannot stay still. Como also cannot take it anymore. This morning, the shooting session will be brief. The wolves go in search of shelter where it is impossible for us to follow them. The mosquito calamity afflicts small animals as much as large ones. Nor does it spare certain birds. For the past few days, Reynold has been documenting the nesting of a pair of merlins, whose offspring are particularly inconvenienced. Strangely, the nest attracts a lot of mosquitoes. The parents can't do anything about that. Only wind at the top of the spruce would drive away the legions of insects. The last young falcon leaves the nest in the hope of fleeing its torturers. The father returns with prey. The 5 youngsters immediately claim their share. When people ask me what has been the most difficult for my parents and me during all the years we lived in the land of the wolf, many expect me to answer the lack of comfort, loneliness, lack of links with civilization and connection to the internet. In fact, the hardest was enduring black flies and mosquitoes, and 2008 turned out to be one of the worst. These critters may make us angry, but they have their uses. Whether in the form of larvae in the water or as imagos, they serve as food for several creatures, including dragonflies. It may be because of the importance of insects in the food chain that Monique Reynald and I started to take a little more interest in them. Flycatcher chicks grow so fast that their parents have to increase the rate of beakfuls. It also means more feces to remove out of the nest. Insects with a hard exoskeleton, like this pretty common willow calligrapha, are on the menu of the birds. The beetle order is the most diversified of the insect class, with over 1 million species worldwide. Their forewings, called elytra, are not used during flight. They only protect the hind wings. Spiders catch a large number of mosquitoes. This one twines its prey in order to eat it later. A witness with an unusual face observes the scene. A scorpion fly. Birds, spiders, and other insectivores successfully control hexapod populations. I am not a huge fan of spiders, but I confess to have a weakness for crab spiders. Their hunting method sets them apart from other arachnids, as they use their front legs to grab their prey. This behavior has earned them the name crab spiders. This thechinid fly comes dangerously close to the spider. The paralyzing venom begins to take effect. A few moments later, the crab spider can eat its prey. The crab spider often sets ambushes by camouflaging itself in a flower. Some wasps also voraciously devour insects. And suddenly, it is the biter bit. So goes life in the land of the wolf in this early July. The daily life of insects is not always so dramatic. Proof of this are the days many of them spend feasting in the heart of flowers. In the midst of the stamens, some mate while others get drunk on pollen. Welcome to the Epicurean kingdom. Among the list of Epicurus disciples living in the land of the wolf is our old friend, the Philosopher Bear, a great lover of wild strawberries. His gourmet quest led him to the shore of the unnamed lake. The bear has a lot of reasons to be happy here. This cute little animal is a harmless flower beetle. Fond of pollen, it intimidates those around it by its resemblance to a bee or a bumblebee. The Philosopher Bear likes to watch, listen, and smell the scents of the wild garden. The day passes slowly, in a warm light, one wing beat at a time. Sometimes, we kept watch in the morning near a lake surrounded by wild irises. Then, at the end of the day, we tried our luck at the marsh of wild roses. We did not see a bear or a wolf every day, but with patience and consistency, luck often smiled on us. Jimmy is hunting around the marsh of the wild roses. Even the strongest of moose knows he is vulnerable when he gets stuck like this. The king could have continued to feed on aquatic plants, because the wolf does not want to pursue him. The smell of another prey seems to catch his attention. As a safe distance now separates him from Jimmy, the moose feels reassured. Here is a hare that could interest the wolf. In the forest on the other bank, The merlin brings its new catch to its chicks. While I observe the young falcon eating, I meditate on the endless overlap of life and death in the land of the wolf. This odd imbrication generates nature balance. On it depend the future and the free evolution of living, the true survival of the wild world. Everything, absolutely everything is linked. These blue flag irises and dragonflies depend on this marsh, and this marsh would not exist without the beavers. So that this harmony continues, and that the number of beavers does not exceed the resources of the environment, there is the wolf. Tonight, a beaver from the Lake of Wild Irises is missing. The next morning in the same area we find Jimmy. Paying close attention, I notice a certain resemblance between this little jumping spider and the wolf. What audacity! The hummingbird hawk moth is way too big for the spider. Hawkweeds attract a large number of foraging insects. The most famous of them is the monarch butterfly. Once again, I am captivated by the harmony of colors between the butterfly species and the flowers they visit. The hummingbird hawk moth owes its name to the fact it forages in flight like a hummingbird. The proboscis of this butterfly is relatively long, perfectly adapted to its particular way of feeding. Unlike the majority of butterflies, part of the wings of the hummingbird hawk moth is transparent, devoid of the tiny scales that give the Canadian tiger swallowtail and the great spangled fritillary their bright colors. Nature enchants us with its beauty at the same time as it overwhelms us with its implacable laws. To understand and protect the wild world, we must embrace it as it is, by acknowledging and respecting its skills to manage itself. In the next episode, the bears will share the spotlight with the wolves. We will have the chance to observe tense encounters between these animals. All this and more to discover in the land of the wolf.
Mi gwech man it too, we are yo, we hiya, we hiya, yo. Then again, my